Welcome back, class, to another animation collab where I experiment with new techniques in my animation laboratory in collaboration with other content creators. My name is Sonja and I'm a motion designer. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. You'll support me in that way. I live stream every Tuesday and Friday. And today I'm going to continue the collaboration with Andy, and I'm going to continue working on the storyboard for his cybersecurity explainer video. I wasn't sure how to finish that sentence then. If you've missed previous streams on this, then you can catch them on my YouTube channel. They are all available there. Hi Simon, welcome to the stream. I'm so glad you came. All right, let's have a look. Actually, before we have a look, if you don't know about Andy and his YouTube channel, you can head over to ROT169, and that's the name of his YouTube channel. You cannot see the my browser bar, but basically you can search for Andy or youtube.com/ROT169. The link will be in the description of this video, no matter if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube. And he does cybersecurity videos, how to protect yourself, not prevent yourself, how to protect yourself from hackers, and I guess how to prevent hacking as well, and how hacking works, and these types of videos. He has a few different series, and my video will actually fall into, or the collaboration, it's not my video, it's his video that I'm helping him to animate, and the video will fall into the, why does it keep highlighting everything? I just want to highlight this. Attack, Detect, Defend series. So, we've come a long way in terms of, sorry, I'm shaking the table because for some reason I feel like I'm not sitting right. I think I moved my camera again. God damn it. It's like every time, every stream, I play around with the camera. So this is where we're at. We came a long way. I did like a really long 8-hour stream where I did most of the first storyboard, and there is still this second storyboard to animate. There's this last part is relatively done because it's the same animation that happens in the first storyboard. Now there's this long scene of how this hack might happen, or how a hacker would try to get higher level privileges when they're trying to access a system. And now we're going to continue the following scenes. And also I've had word with Andy, and he sent me some other, so he was mentioning how he's not a fan of this particular font, and he sent me some a replacement font. So what was the name again? I think I forgot. Let's see, if I go into just agenda, okay, that's the one. So there are a few different versions of this agenda. I don't know if I want to go with the black, but basically, yeah, I think it's also very close to the other font. So if we go away and we go back to this one, so the difference between that one and that one, so this is the new font, this is the previous font, so they're pretty similar. This one is just a little bit more simplified, so I'm super happy using this font instead of the other one. It will work in spatially as well. It will take up the same amount of space, so that's great. And I think I have most of these. Okay, I didn't. Okay, I thought it was locked. It was a locked layer, but it wasn't. So I can now just use the eyedropper tool and apply the new font, and I can do that for all the other fonts as well. I just need to make sure that they're not actually locked, and some of these are locked, and this is probably a good time to unlock everything, because once I start getting into the moving the fonts or moving the assets to my scene Illustrator files. So this is the storyboard where all of the artwork is compiled, and it's more or less for either internal feedback within like a studio, if you have a design department and an animation department, and maybe you have an art director who oversees the storyboard. So a storyboard is usually for that, to prepare the assets and then present them to somebody else and then to receive feedback. Or it's between the studio and the client. And then within the process of an animation, that storyboard will then be split up into scene files that will then be animated in the end. So you don't use the assets directly from the storyboard. You normally, or this is what I'm used to, this is the workflow I have used in a few different companies, that you will then just split up the storyboard and create scene files that you then import into After Effects. So that's the usual workflow. And I think all of the text is now unlocked, so I'm going to highlight all of the text layers, and actually I think I can just go to select object, select, no, where was it? Select. Okay, select is its own option. And then I can select all text objects, and I don't have to go through them and highlight them. And then what I can do, I can use the eyedropper tool, which is this guy, and it's just with the keyboard shortcut I, and I can go to one of them that I've already changed, and then they will, oh, okay, something weird happened. Oh, okay, I also have text on screen. Okay, so I don't want to do that actually. What I could do is highlight the text that is all the same. So I could go to select same, but then I don't have the text option. Maybe I can try just appearance. No, that's gonna highlight everything. So I don't have the option if I want to highlight everything that's the same as this piece of text. It doesn't work because I have other things that is also text that is a different text though, so they will both be highlighted. Or if I select same, it will highlight everything with the same fill color, so that's also not what I want. Okay, so in this case, I do have to go through and highlight all of these little text objects, but we don't have so many. I just thought maybe there'll be a quick shortcut to go around highlighting them, but it doesn't really matter that there isn't. Now we've learned that highlighting in such a way is not possible. So now I have to go in and amend some of these. So what I definitely want is, I probably want the text to be in the center of this frame. So I'm gonna center that, which is great because now it's at the top of the gray. The gray is a little bit low actually, but I don't want to move it up because I think the bottom is already not high enough. But to be honest, I don't need to play around with this too much because I am going to make these changes in After Effects. So right now, it's not really that important that all of these frames are 100% accurate. I'm just going to amend this just because it's such a blatant overlapping and some things up here. So just so that Andy knows that this isn't going to look broken like that, I'm gonna make that change. And all the other ones, yeah, I'll just make the change here. And if you have any questions while I'm working in the chat, just drop your questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions about either what I'm doing right now, about Illustrator in general, about After Effects, or about my workflow. So yeah, or just chat amongst each other. I know that there are usually various people in the chat of varying levels of understanding of motion design. So if you have any questions for each other, feel free to just have conversations in the chat. So I'm going to save this. And I should also probably, I mean, I could change the text, maybe just for Andy's benefit. By the end of me finishing these storyboards, I'll probably want to show all of this to Andy. So until then, or for that time, I should probably change the text here as well, so that he knows that the text will actually appear different. And oops, I highlighted something else there. Oh, right, okay. I think these are also locked. So I'm gonna change the text just for these for now. And we're gonna go with the fat one. And there is this like subtitle, and now I think this is going to look way better, because that was also bothering me a little bit, that it was a little too out there, let's say. So for this, I might not use the black, but maybe just the bold, so it's a little bit less aggressive, and it also becomes a little bit more legible. So let's do the same for this, and I'm gonna use the bold. And then finally, for this text, I can actually make it larger, because I have a little bit more space here. So it can be 40 at least. I feel like it could be a little bit more than that, but maybe not. Because I want it to be as large as the word attack, so actually it needs to be something like this, but either way, that's much better. So now I think some of these are locked, so I definitely want to unlock the text here. Yep, there we go. And this is probably also locked. So I want to make sure that once I'm finished with this, no layers are locked, because this is particularly important when you're working in a team. Right now I'm just working by myself. I'm going to do the animation in the end, so I'm not handing this off to anybody else. But even working alone, I might forget that I locked that layer, and then I'll copy it over, and then some of the graphics are missing in the new file, and I have to go back and recopy it, and that can be a little bit of hassle. So I want to make sure that towards the end of this animation phase in the storyboard, that all the layers are unlocked. Usually I lock layers like this text layer to like amend something that is above it, and it's just easier to grab the vertices and the anchors, and that's why some of the layers are locked. But yeah, by the end of this process, you should definitely remember to unlock those layers, because they will cause you issues. That is for sure. Oh, I guess this is not locked. Okay, cool. And then we have this persistence, which I'm sure has a locked layer as well. No, it doesn't. Okay, cool. Hi Tom, welcome to the stream. We are back at it with the storyboard. So now I'm just doing a little bit of cleaning up, and it's these three that I want to check, or not 3, these few scenes that I want to check that there are no locked layers, especially on the text. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of them are not locked, but I just want to make double sure. So I'm just going to go through all of them. And also what's helpful, if you're working in a team and you're going to hand this over to somebody else, it's a good idea to group objects together that belong together, like these screens. It's not great if you're handing this over to your animator, and let's say you're the illustrator who put together the storyboard, and you're handing this over, and then all of these objects are just floating around on your top level layer. You want to have things grouped in a sensible way, but also make sure you're not grouping things needlessly. Like, don't have one shape grouped like 4 times. Like, make sure you undo groups where it's not necessary and group things where it makes sense to have them grouped. So I have each one of these scenes grouped so that I can just click on this entire thing and I can just copy paste it over. But then again, everybody likes to work differently, and maybe you will work with a motion designer that doesn't like it that way, you know. Then it just comes down to communication and finding out what the best way of setting up your scene is. And also, I would say every time you open a group and there was like stuff open inside, where can I show you this? Like this, if this group was untoggled and all of these things were untoggled, or toggled open, I guess, and then you open this entire group, this entire mess opens up. So I would also say, if you are handing this over to somebody, make sure you close all of these group toggles so all of that doesn't just collapse open whenever somebody opens one of these or toggles open one of these groups. So I try to do that just to be a little bit cleaner. I would do this normally at the very end, like just cleaning up everything. But since I need to clean up a few things here and there in the storyboard, I'm just going to do this now and just creating a little bit of order in here. What was that? There was something else here. Yep, so okay, so just closing all of these groups so we don't have an unnecessarily long layers list. And then I'm going to save over this. And something else that I wanted to do. Oh, right. Now I can access all of those text layers. And I can change them to the new font I'm going to be using. Actually, I should really also make the text smaller at some point. I'll definitely need to do that before I hand it over to Andy so that he can have a realistic idea of what this text is going to look like, because I did say that eventually I wanted the text to be a smaller size on the screen. So the whole frame with the text inside, I wanted them to be smaller on screen, but we'll do that at some point. So now I can change this to the agenda black. Some of it might go outside of its frame. No, so far everything's fine. So on the all caps version, you actually don't see the nice details of this, and I might just change this to not all caps because the lowercase of this font looks really cute, especially with the little eyes. So I don't know which way I'm going to go with this. I can go this way, and have these little kind of graphical details in the font, which I kind of like. I'm keep saying kind of a lot right now. I don't know why. But Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look as clean as the all caps, so that's the difference here. So it's either this one or this one. So I don't know which way I'm gonna go. It's definitely cleaner with the all caps, but it's also less designed. It's less cute, so to speak. So I don't know. I'll see what I'm going to decide doing later, at a later stage. So I'm going to save that. Those are the changes that I wanted to do for now in this. And then I'm going to... let's go into the next scene. So let's see what we've got. Let's turn on the... oh, right. Okay, so it's this super heavy scene with all of this stuff going on. But first we have a kind of like a transitional scene. So Andy talks about it's likely that an attacker will be able to directly compromise a system that's the subject of their overall objective. It's unlikely that an attacker will be able to directly compromise the system that's the subject of their overall objective. So there's a few tactics they'll use to navigate through a system to reach their end target. So basically, this entire sentence is just a deconstruction of this scene. So why don't I just do like an animate off kind of oh, wait. Now here, for example, I didn't group the entire thing. I should probably do that. That will also minimize on the amount of singular groups here. Yeah, so there's quite a few things. That's just one thing. Let's have all of these things in one. That's just one dude. And that's the text and the dude. Okay, great. What is this clipping group? Oh, it's this, okay. It's this down here. All right. So I think what I would like is I'm gonna copy this over here. And let's just have this guy like fall down these stairs. Like he wasn't able to access. It's unlikely that an attacker will be able to directly compromise the system. Okay, so he's like falling off this ladder. Maybe I'll have him fall off like this. Like he's kind of sideways falling off, and maybe the ladder is also sideways at this point. So it's a little bit more obvious what's happening here. That's not a lot. That's like enough to cover like this first sentence. So I don't know if this is going to be enough animation for this entire thing to leave the screen, because it's a really long sentence. Okay, well, I'll just keep it at this, and if this is not going to be enough, then I'm gonna have to think of something else that's going to happen during these screens. And this is going to fall off as well. And then we just have this here. Yeah, and then we'll just get rid of this altogether, and then the screen is just going to actually Now I can ungroup this. Yeah. And the screen is just gonna go off the screen. And then we're going to have credential access. So some sort of ID badge. And I'm using illustrations from Undraw. It's a free illustration website. So I'm going to have a look for something to do with ID credential. Let's use that word. Nothing. Okay, ID. Yeah, okay, so there's a few things, but not really ID. That's not really it. How could I visualize credential access? So we have like the lock and key situation and like the ID badge, and Andy did give me some indication of what he would like to happen here. So I'm gonna have to open up his rough storyboard because the node got cut off on that image. So let's have a look at his, yep. So gather access ID cards, break into a safe, and steal keys stored inside. Okay, I see what's supposed to happen. Yeah, okay, we can go with that. So let's see if we have like something like a safe. Oh, I just saw something. Maybe we can get something like this instead of the ID card. But then how would you visualize? Could go with that, but then I'd have to connect it somehow to stealing that access. Let's try and go with the actual ID. And okay, so what did he say? Gather access ID cards, break into a safe, and steal keys stored inside. I feel like a different visual would work better with this, especially with the ID card. Because the metaphor here is, I mean, the key makes sense because we also have the metaphor of the lock. So they couldn't get in. There was a lock, so now they need the keys. But first they need credential access. So it kind of makes sense to go with the ID cards. But why? The only thing that doesn't work in that metaphor is you don't need an ID card to open a safe. So that's the only link that is missing between these two metaphors. So the key is good because we already saw the lock. So they couldn't get in because there was a lock. So they need a key. So that's fine. That works. But where else could the keys be that you would need an ID to get to? Also, let's have a look at key. Do we have a nice key illustration? We also don't have a nice key illustration. I mean, we could use this authentication thing. There's a key here. Not sure I like that key. They need credential access to get the key. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about that. If you have any idea while I'm thinking, drop them in the chat. Okay. They need access to get to the key. How else could they have access? Where else could the keys be? Or could I use the like thumbprint thing somehow? But then how would that connect to the key situation? Oh! Okay, let's see what comes up if I type in access. So we've got the thumbprint thing. I like the thumbprint idea. How can I connect that with the key? It is a digital key. I'm just going with the key graphic because we also had the lock graphic. So the key and the lock, they kind of work together, but the credentials ID doesn't work with the safe. It's the two metaphors that are clashing right now. So if I needed a key to open this lock that the hacker, this little blue guy, is the hacker that is trying to access this lock or is trying to get past this lock, they need a key. So that metaphor is fine. And it's also okay if the key is in a safe, but you don't need an ID card to get into a safe. So that's where the metaphor is kind of not quite right. So either the key is not a key and you get access with the ID card, or the key is not in a safe and you get access through whatever it's in with the ID card, or the ID card doesn't exist. So I'm now trying to just merge those ideas somehow. I mean, the key can also be this passcode. So if they need a passcode, then we can work with the credential ideas, because then the key is the passcode. So we don't need the physical key visual. But then, why would you need the credentials? I mean, just visually speaking, I know why you need the credentials to access some higher level system. But in the metaphor of the key being the password, you would need the credentials to get the password somehow. So where would you find the password as a hacker, you know, visually speaking? And he's talking about passwords anyway, so we can use this visual with like the password thing. So credential techniques offer ways of obtaining passwords, keys, or authentication data so that the attacker can assume the identity of another account. I mean, I could do it in like an unrealistic way, where let's say we have should we bring this computer back, or should I just... Everything is happening on this weird computer. I kind of want to get rid of the computer, to be quite honest with you. Okay, maybe something else happens here. So let's get rid of the computer in a different way. So something similar I did last time. So instead of the computer going away, we'll just zoom in and then we just end up being inside of the computer screen, and that's like a valid way to get rid of the computer as well. So then I want the inside of this. So I want this. Does that include the locks? Yeah, I think so. What is this path? Oh, that's the outside and that's the back. Okay, cool. So I'll just copy this over and I'll do something similar to this. So let's have, so now we have this, and actually I need space for this. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I need space for the text there. And also I would like to bring back my safeguards. So I'm not past this like bottom line. I don't want it to be too close to the edge, and actually I think this needs to be just slightly smaller. And yeah, it doesn't matter if they match. It's going to happen in the animation anyway. But that also means the background's now this gray color, I guess. Copy. And what is this color anyway? Oh, it's white. Okay, I didn't realize it was white. I thought it was gray. Okay, so we don't need it. We're gonna be on a white background anyway. Okay, so what's going to happen here is I want this screen with the lock. So I'm gonna need to go inside of this group. And oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's make this the size of that sort of locked screen thing. And let's have it, yeah, like approximately same distance away from all the edges. And then let's put this here. So now we've got that lock symbol, and then we'll have a input, and I'm gonna make this white maybe, but it's below, where is it? And I'm going to make it a little larger, like this size. And now what I'm gonna do, this is gonna be weird, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use like a ID badge type thing. It's gonna come on screen, so like around here, like something like this. I'm gonna just tell you what I'm gonna do because it's gonna take a while until I am there. So let's say this badge like comes in like this. Let's make it blue, whatever. It comes in like this. Then I'm gonna turn it around. Yeah. And I'm gonna have it go into this slot here. And it's like it's gonna insert itself into this like slot that it's like on the screen, but let's just pretend it's like that's where they're putting the credential access. Then the password is gonna magically type itself on the screen, and that's how they unlocked this place. So that's my idea right now. Tell me if that's dumb, but I think that could kind of work. So let's take some sort of, oh yeah, we also need some sort of okay. Whoops, no, didn't mean to do that. Let's go like this, and then there is also like an okay button, which we can take from here. So it's going to be not delete logs, I'm gonna copy this. Actually, let's take the mouse too. And then I'm gonna go in here. Control Shift V, and then it's going to say, let's group those two, and let's put them, why is there a clipping mask? There's no clipping mask here. Oh, right, yeah, because it was a clipping mask. Let's release this clipping mask. I don't need it to be clipped. And I think I'm just gonna ungroup this too. It's a little annoying that it's grouped right now. Nope. Like that. And instead of delete access logs, it's going to say access. And it's going to be the same size. Oops, nope. Okay, just go inside. God damn it, why won't you highlight? Yeah, I think this is the way I'm gonna go with this. Ways of obtaining passwords, keys, or authentication data so that the attacker can assume the identity of another account. Okay, so at this point, the mouse is like somewhere else. Now let's create that badge. And actually, I don't want this to be this like blue color. I'm gonna have to go through the design and adapt some of these like color choices, because so far the blue highlight color has been the bad thing, the hacker is getting in, the hacker is doing something. So I think in some of these I'm gonna have to change the color so it doesn't look like it's the hacker thing doing something. So yeah. The badge, okay. What does an ID badge look like? ID. Let's look at that again. Pretty sure I can just make up something. But maybe something like this with like a circle for the photo and a few lines or something like that. And yeah, I think that's fair enough. Maybe like profile. Yeah, that's pretty good actually, but I don't want like the human, maybe this. Also, I kind of stopped using this like square, detached square thing. I don't know what to call it. Still haven't come up with a name for that. The sideways moved square. Like this thing that I was using it in the beginning, and then I kind of stopped doing that. Oh, there's an ID badge. It's right there. Okay, I can just use this. Excellent. It's in this group down here. Yeah, I think I need to bring this back a little bit to give the designs a little bit more interest. So I'm gonna do that once I refine what's going to be on all of these things. So is it this whole thing? No, it's just all of that. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this over and I'm gonna put it here, group it, and make it larger, and it needs to be a different color, obviously. Okay, so let's make this just the regular, no, can't be that color. Let's make it this light, and that one is the dark. And then these ones can be like gray or something. Okay, so this ID comes in. I don't know, it can come from the bottom or something. Maybe a little larger, actually. Actually, maybe not. And now I'm going to group all of this. I'm gonna move it here. And the only thing I'm gonna get rid of is the text. Don't need that anymore. But basically, this will come in. And maybe this will just center itself after the text has gone away. And then, oh, we don't have that much time. Yeah. I'm going to move this over to this line. And then this goes, huh? Why can't I rotate it to? And then it goes in here. No, I want this and this to be aligned. Can't do it. Okay, I'm gonna have to manually align it. There we go. And then I'm just gonna shove it in there. Looks horrible like this, but you know. Actually, no, it's gonna have to go like... There's gonna have to be a mask for this, actually. Hi, Pascal! So Pascal is asking when I think I'll be able to start setting up for After Effects. And so far, it takes me about one live stream session to finish one of these scenes. So I'll probably be able to finish this scene until here, which is about maybe just under half of the storyboard. So I'm still going to have to finish 1, 2, 3-ish scenes. So I would assume that's another 3 live streaming sessions before I'm fully done with the storyboard. Then I would estimate another live streaming session to actually make all of the changes and add some of the details and unify the design throughout. So I would say 4 more live streaming sessions on the storyboard, and then I'll most likely start prepping the files for After Effects, and then I'll start animating. Also nochmal auf Deutsch. Ungefähr 4 Livestreaming Sessions, bevor das Storyboard komplett fertig ist, und dann fange ich wahrscheinlich mit der Vorbereitung für After Effects an und danach werde ich dann endlich animieren. I hope that gives you a good idea of yeah, how long it takes to really do a storyboard and all the things that go into designing an explainer video. So I want a mask for this card. That's what I wanted. So I think I'm just gonna use this for now. And I'm just going to, yeah, stretch it the other way around. And where is this? Here. Now I'm gonna create a clipping mask. And then I'm gonna shove this card further in, so it looks like it's going into this thing. Something like that. Maybe it needs a little slot as well. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's add a little line here. Nope. And let's just add this. So something like this happens. Yeah. And since this kind of looks weird with this being not centered, I'm going to center this to this square. Cannot touch them at the same time. Okay, like that. Yep, I'll center that. And then that's fine. I'll just center that and that'll be fine. Oh, nope. Don't click too quickly to highlight the key object when you want to align something, because then you'll just go into isolation mode for that one object. Hello, welcome. Okay, super, dann kann ich die Antworten auf deine Fragen auf Englisch beantworten. Yeah, so that kind of goes in there, comes in, goes in there, and then we have the axis. So now I want to go into the same group, and yeah, sure, why not? And I just want a few stars, and I want them to be the blue color. And then I just want them to be in here, and they need to be a little smaller. Let's make it a longer password, because we want to be super safe, right? Okay, so that kind of thing happens. And actually, maybe... yeah, sure. Let's keep it like that. No, I will be prepping the assets that I put into the storyboard. I'll be prepping them in a different stage, and I'll set up every scene as an Illustrator file, and I'll be actually using those assets. So the assets that you're seeing right now are the assets I'm going to be using. So that's kind of the intent with the storyboard, to give the person that I'm showing this to, this could be inside of an animation studio, this could be the art director, or for a studio in collaboration with a client, this could be the client that would be seeing this as a PDF, of course. Usually you share this as a PDF to whoever needs to look at it. So in most cases you want to use the assets that will be the final assets. There's always some leeway that some colors or graphics might be replaced before it gets to the animation stage, but you want to set the tone in the storyboard already. You don't want to show this to the client and then animate completely different assets, because then the client will be like, but what? I already saw what it's supposed to look like. Why is it looking completely different now? So it's kind of this giving the client, or whoever looks at this, the art director or the client, the assurance that this will be approximately to 90% what the video will look like. And so in that stage, your art director or the client will be able to tell you, I like it or I don't like it. Can you change this? Can we keep this? Can we move that? And so on. Okay, so we've got this, and let's read over the script again. I'm gonna hide the rough storyboard again so we have more of a... I hate how these lines are definitely too thin, I think. I mean, well, I don't know actually, because they look thinner from far away, but even at this stage, this is probably almost full screen, and the lines feel very thin. So I might have to go with the thicker lines, but then I'm going to get into trouble with this scene here, because if I make these lines thicker, they are going to be so thick. It's going to be too much, I think. So I don't know if I should go that route or not. I'll just give you an idea of what it would look like. Essentially, this is the other thickness that I'm using throughout the storyboard, the one that you see in the title. So this will, yeah, so that's like so thick, extremely thick. I don't know if that's a good idea, to be quite honest with you. So thick. Yeah, I'll probably stick with the thickness of these lines and only use the thicker lines on the text, which also means I'm gonna have to remove the thick lines on these things here. But yeah, anyway, that's some of the changes that I'm gonna have to make sometime down the line. No worries. Feel free to ask any amount of questions, anything that comes to mind. I'm super happy to explain my process. Of course, the way I work is not how every motion designer works or how every motion design studio works, but it's definitely my process and how, through experience, how I came to work in this way, basically. So let's save this for safety. Memorize Control S if you haven't already on all Adobe products, or actually just on all products where you can do a save or you need to do a save. Just Control or Command S is the save option. Make sure that anytime you've made any amount of changes, just save. You don't have to be at the end of your work. Just save every 5 minutes. Whenever you remember that you've made a change, just save. Be on the safe side. Don't lose your work. Okay, so discovery. Let's have a look through the storyboard actually. So we've got the person coming in. Then they put a mask on to hide themselves, but actually what they would do is just delete the access logs after the hack. Now this screen disappears and we come in with the new screen. Okay, so there's just from this screen we go to this screen, and oh, this is a little tight here. While I'm here, I might as well change this. Yeah, sure. Let's do it this way. I'm just going to... I don't know if the text is highlighted or not. I can't tell because it looks like it's highlighted and I don't want it to be... Okay, I'm just going to move this in the hopes... Nope, it is highlighted. Okay, why won't it unhighlight when I click it? Go away, I don't want you to be highlighted. Damn it, this was working so well earlier and for some reason now it's not working. Maybe it's, oh, now it's unhighlighted, okay. Deselected, I should say, not unhighlighted. It won't let me deselect. Okay, now, there we go. Sorry, a little bit of back and forth there. Okay. Alrighty. Doesn't have to be super precise right now because as I explained in the previous streams a little bit, is that I'm going to create a dynamic text box that will adjust dynamically. It will responsively adjust to the length of the text. So I already built this type of text box before. I actually made a class on that. If you're interested in taking motion graphics classes, I might as well plug it now. It's the Animate Responsive Motion Graphics Title Template series. Right now, only part 1 of the 3-part series is up, but basically what you can learn is, I don't know if let's just mute that. Basically what you can learn is creating these types of templates, and the box adjusts to the size. You can customize it, you can change the colors, and you can give it to somebody else for their Premiere Pro video edit, for example, or you can use it in your After Effects project as a template. And yeah, so if that's something you're interested in, you can head over to my website and go to classes. I'll just drop that in the chat. You'll also find all of the links to all the stuff that I have in the description of this video. But basically, I've already built this type of modular text object, and that's what I'll be using here. So it doesn't really matter if I get the design correct on all of the text stuff here, because I'm gonna build that in After Effects anyway, with expressions essentially. Or rather, I have already built it, and I'm gonna add it to this animation. Okay, so we were left with this. We get to the new screen, privilege, escalation. I think that's, yeah, that should not be X, that should be S. Escalation. Next, then this little dude starts climbing up this ladder. And actually, you know what, just to make this a little bit more obvious that he's actually climbing, I'm gonna put him a little lower on the rank. So first you see the ladder coming in, then you see this dude climbing up, and then you see that there's a lock on the screen. He wasn't able to access it, and there might even be multiple levels of access that this hacker is trying to access. So they can't do that, so they fall off the screen. But instead, they might try and obtain this ID, the credential access, and with that access, they can get the password to get into whatever they want to get into. Now, the second thing, they can then do discovery. Discovery techniques involve searching an individual system or a network for items of interest or other potential... sorry, I was already thinking about the next thing I needed to do. Or a network for items of interest or other potential assets to compromise. I think I can move this one over here. Wait. X that out. Move that here. Okay, so discovery techniques involve searching an individual system or a network for items of interest or other potential assets to compromise. And lateral movement techniques are used to gain. I feel like there is something missing in this text. Oh no, that's how it was written. Okay. So now I would like to so I think what I would like to do for this graphic lateral movement is like jumping from screen to screen. I don't know if I want to use the screen graphic for this or if I want to use a different graphic. let's see. Let's for now go with the screen graphic. So basically now we have the screen. I'll remove this like thing that we have here because actually in this frame we don't need it. Also, I don't need the mouse. And basically let's get the original back, and it looks something like this. There is like a screen here, and we have circles. Let's get the circle on. What's the center of this frame? Oh, let's get a center mark going. Oh, it's right in the center. That little cross section. Let's say 500, and then let's see how large a 500 circle is. And I want this circle behind the screen, and I want it to be, let's use the gray color, or maybe, well, it's like a bad activity, so let's use the blue. And let's not use the outline. Okay, so let's make this smaller. Let's make it about this size. I don't know why it's like stuck to my mouse now. Okay, and then let's make a larger circle, and this one, oh, come on. Why? Stop it. Okay, I'm just gonna drag in my layers then, and I'm going to use this color guide, and I'm just going to pick this color. I'm not sure why this color isn't available to me right now. I'm going to go for this color. Yep. And then I can just go down this scale and get like a lighter tint, and then it's going to do this light tint thing. And actually, what I could do is to fake this. I could do the blend option, that way I don't actually have to design these. And I'm gonna just make a big circle. And it's gonna have to eventually not be in the center, but it's fine for now. Let's actually, yeah, let's just move all of these out of the center here or something. And now let's make this, let's also bring back the save guides. So I know, why did this get smaller again? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Okay. The third one, the second one I don't need. Alright, so let's make this one the lightest color. This one. And then what I can do is I can blend these two. I can use the blend option, which is object, blend, and then I can go to blend options, smooth color. No, I want specified steps, and I want 1, 2, 3, 4. But actually, it's only 2 steps, because I think it's only the steps in between. And then I have to blend. I have to make the blend, and it makes a little blend. Yay! So now I only have the 2 objects instead of multiple objects. And the steps, like the areas, are exactly the same size. So that's excellent. And now I have to make this much smaller. Maybe I actually want the center circle to be smaller. And then see, and now all of the little circles adjust. It's just so great. I love that I discovered this blend option. It's so useful. So now we want, now they are discovering. So I'm assuming the little circle is like expanding as it's discovering all of these computers on the same network. And we're just gonna place these out here. And maybe one's here, maybe one's out here, and maybe one's here, one is here, and then maybe one is there, and maybe one more there. So now it's like discovering all of these, and we have 2 screens for that, so I can actually visualize what this is, and I want to group this. So I want to group this entire thing, and maybe I want to group it with, so first I'll copy it. I'll copy it to the next frame, and then I can group these 2 so they are together. Now I can move this into the center of the frame, and I can actually just remove some of these so we can actually see the build-up of this circle. So let's just get rid of the very outside ones. And maybe for this blend, I'll change the blend amount. And I will make, before I do that, I will change the color of this one. And I'll just go 1 in, so it's not the darkest. And I will change the blend amount, blend options. And I'll just have 1. Okay. And then I can make this smaller. Actually, I'm gonna have to make all of it. Oh no, stop doing that. Yeah. Wait. And then I want to make these smaller too. I'll scale from the center of the circle. Oh, nope, I don't want to duplicate them. Actually, you know what? No, oops. I want this to look different. I don't want them to be scaling like that. No, this is fine. Actually, I think I just want to scale this circle thing. Yeah. So it like looks similar to that, only that the other circle has just not appeared yet. Yeah, something like this. Okay, cool. So then what we see is, I'll show you. So we're here, and this like goes away, it disappears, and then we have this, and it builds up to this, and they are discovering more and more of these access points, or what is it, systems and networks. And then there is lateral movement, and we'll have this little computer again. And this little computer goes here. And let's have a look at the original. Yeah, so we have like some computers here. I might want to get a nicer layout of these computers at some point, but for now this is fine, and we're going to group them and center them. Actually, I don't want to center them vertically, but something like this. And then what I want to do is get a, and I think I have 2 screens for this text. Oops, now I've made a line. Yeah, Illustrator is starting to scroll very slowly, so I'm going to close it for just a moment. And I'm going to open it again, so that usually helps when it's starting to get slow in the scrolling department. Hello? Okay, where are we? Over here. Okay, an attacker will use various combinations of the techniques. So at this point, we actually want to use see all three of them. So what I want here is they are going from this screen to that screen to that screen to that screen to that screen. And for this, I want it to be this blue line. Oh, I don't have that blue line yet as a thing. I'll just add that to my graphic styles. I don't like that the graphic styles duplicate instead of just being the same graphic style. It's a little annoying, but okay. Oh, I put the path on a random layer, so I need to move that. And I need to move it inside of this group of computers and below that. And I also want to group this as one. And now we can have a quick look at this, and let's move this guy out of the way. Whoops, not that one. This one. So it's more like that. And now we can see how the hacker is trying to access. And maybe we'll move this one down a little as well, so the line isn't just straight, but we can see that they are trying to access through various things. And maybe what I'll do for this screen where we have to see all four of them, instead of using the graphics, I'm just going to use the text. So, and maybe that's the solution for the first storyboard as well, for that scene that was too complex or too full. So, let's turn off the background. So now we have lateral access, and I just want this copy. Then we have what do we have? Discovery. Just went randomly somewhere else. And lateral movement. And I don't know if I want to create this a triangle effect, but I could go with... Whoops, no, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, never mind. What I could do is, with the look that I had in the first storyboard with the three, the attack, detect, defend, maybe something like that. And I also want to bring the video save areas back so I can, whoops, don't move the artboard. That's definitely a good idea. So maybe something like this. And either this, or I'll create this like triangular look, I don't know. But basically we've got this, and then I think what I would like is for this to have these lines. Actually, I'll bring the lines back. They are these ones. That way I don't have to recreate that dotted look. I can just move the anchor points to where I want them. And this goes here. It's like this. And then this one goes like here, something like that. Come on. It's so messy looking. Oh my god. Let's see if I can use the align I don't think I can use the distribute objects for anchor points. Let's see. No, I can't use distribute objects for anchor points. God, this looks so messy. Yeah. So something like this. Let's get rid of the background. And then we'll just have another one here. Actually, why don't I just duplicate this one? Whoops, didn't mean to do that. And I'm using O to reflect it, and I'm holding Alt to duplicate it. And I can just move this further back. And then I can just reflect those to the other side. I need the center mark. Doesn't have to be perfect. So an attacker will use various combinations of the techniques as they navigate from the initial entry point across numerous intermediate hops and finally onto the system which relate to their objective. So actually this is still lateral movement. So I can add a little bit more variety to this. Or an attacker will use various combination of techniques as they navigate from the initial entry point across numerous immediate hops and finally onto the system which they relate to their objective. I don't know if this is lateral movement. And lateral techniques are used to gain access to other machines on a network. No, actually, this is literally just this. Great. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to adjust the lines to signify that at different stages, different axis things are happening. And then maybe this one is happening. And then all of them are happening. Something like that. And then it will look something like this. Where did we leave off? Let's go from here. So we've got the credentials, inserting them to get the password, get the access. At this point, we will also move the mouse to access, save. Then we discover more computers on the network, we move laterally, and then we access different things. And then we have complex multi-hop attacks like this cannot be easily automated. Okay, so what I can do here is, oh, I didn't group them. I thought I grouped them. Apparently I did not group them, so I will do that now. Group this, I'll group this, and I will group this. And then one other thing that I'll do, I'll just utilize this stage to add one more step to this line thing. And then command and control. So that's where command and control or C2 techniques come in, which provide a means for attackers to send commands. So now we're using attack map. But then why do we have these other... So I think I'll just bring back this graphic. I don't think I need this frame. What's this frame for? Zoom out from lateral movement slide to show a big screen, multi-screen being used for command and control, perhaps multi-screens like in the programming graphic. I'm not sure what he means by this, so I'm gonna have to talk to Andy what his vision for this one is. But basically there are more of these computers. Whoops. Need to go in. There are more of these computers, and one of them is the final target, so to speak. And they go from different access points, like this one. Why is this so thick? Something like this happens, and then we have a target. I'm gonna have to look at how I'm going to visualize this, because currently I'm not a huge fan of what this looks like. But for now, I'm just gonna go with Andy's original graphics. And I just use the rotation tool to do that, what you just saw me do. And I was holding Shift and Alt to duplicate the lines. And I'm gonna group that and put that at the bottom there. So something like this. And I actually might finish the lines before this circle, so they don't interfere with each other. Something like that. I'm not a huge fan of this yet. So I'm gonna have to have a look at this later. And whoops. Oh no. But yeah, that's about it for today. Let's have a look how far we got. Let's go back to, where were we? I think we started off around here. And we have this. Then the hack fails because they don't have the credentials. Then we zoom into another screen, and now they do have an access card that they insert and they get access, and then they start discovering other computers on the network, and then through lateral movement, oh, we've got the computer just too large here. Through lateral movement, they can access other computers on the same network. And then they will use a combination of multiple of these access techniques to get in, but they need to automate this procedure, and that's through command and control. That's where we are, and Illustrator is also slowly refusing to do more. So I'm gonna have to go through like these screens with these tiny graphics. I'm not a huge fan of that, so I'm gonna have to think about how I'm going to approach those screens, and I also need to understand from Andy what needs to appear at this command and control. I think he has a specific idea about that, so in order to visualize it correctly, I'm gonna have to get some information from him. And so I was describing earlier today for the planned sessions for this live stream, for this collaboration, and at some point along that workflow, there will be a time where Andy will come back on the stream, like we did for the very first session for the creative brief. And this will probably happen once I'm completely done with the storyboard, and we'll go through and he can give some feedback for things that might need to be amended. So he's already given feedback for things here and there, which I've amended, or things that I wasn't, sure about. But I think it'll be nice to have him back on the stream and kind of discuss together, so that you can also get an idea of how a feedback session like that might come about. So I might do that at some point once I'm fairly certain that I'm at the end of the storyboard process. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed today's session. I hope you learned something. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps me a lot. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you'd like to support me further than that, you can also become my patron. I have a Patreon. You can find the links below in the video description, or you can buy me a coffee on ko-fi.com. You can find all of that information in the video description. And yeah, hope to see you next time. We'll be continuing this process for a few more streams, around 4 more streams probably, before we get to the animation stage. Something like that. Don't hold me to that, because things might change. But yeah, we definitely need to go through this stage before we can move on to the next one. So yeah, I'm giving you a very comprehensive view of how a explainer video production works and how long it takes to do that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's session. If you did, come back on Friday. I stream every Tuesday and Friday, and I'll be doing this until it's done. Okay, see you. Bye.